in the previous video, I was inspecting this function, and I know at this point there is still a lot of bit of confusion, but rewatch the video, try to make it sink in. It will start to make a lot of sense. The concept that I really want to stress is on the issue of fractions. Let's say I have 4 over x. It's common sense that if your denominator becomes bigger, this entire thing is going to become smaller. And if this denominator becomes smaller, this entire thing is going to become bigger. If the denominator becomes bigger, this 4 is being divided by a bigger number, so this entire thing is going to be smaller. Now, infinity, the concept of infinity. Infinity means what is the biggest number that you can think of. The biggest number in the universe is infinity. A gazillion, a megazillion, whatever you want to call it. The biggest number in the universe, the biggest number that you can think of ever, that's infinity. One thing that I want to tell you is that if you divide this 4 here by infinity, you're going to approach the number 0. You're going to approach the number 0. Basically, if you divide anything by the number infinity, you're going to approach 0. The reason why I'm not saying it's equal to is because you're never going to actually reach infinity. You're going to approach infinity, which means you're going to approach 0. Let's see this again on our cool Desmos.com calculator here. Thank you, Desmos. So, divide this by 100. 0.04. Let's increase this. 0.004. Okay, it's going to give you this in standard form. I'm not quite sure how to convert this into into an actual number. Anyways, if you're super good at this thing, you know scientific notation, right? This just means, well, you know scientific notation. This is 0.000000000 all the way until 4 about 51, 52 times. You know how scientific notation works. But as the number that you're dividing by gets bigger and bigger, the number keeps on getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and it's approaching the number 0. So this is the idea that I want to introduce to you, that if you're dividing a number by infinity, that number is going to approach 0. The answer is going to approach 0. So when we were doing this analysis here, we were making x bigger and bigger, and we were trying to make x approach the number infinity. We were trying to make x reach the number infinity. So having this idea, you don't have to use this inspection anymore. You can just come here and say, look, if x is greater than 2, I know for a fact that x at some point is going to approach infinity. It's going to approach infinity because x can be any number as long as it's greater than 2. So as x becomes bigger and bigger, it's going to approach the number infinity. So if it approaches the number infinity, think about this as being infinity. Infinity minus 2 is just going to be infinity because it's just going to be so big. If you take a very big number and you subtract 2 from it, it doesn't really make a difference. That number will still be very large. So infinity minus 2, it's not really going to change infinity, because if infinity is so big, even if you subtract the number 2, it's just going to be infinity. If you subtract the number 2 from 4, that changes it. But if you subtract the number 2 from 1 billion, is it really going to change the 1 billion? It's not, isn't it? So it's the same thing here. If you have the biggest number you can think of here, if you have this as infinity, even if you subtract 2, it's just going to be as big as infinity. So this entire thing here is going to approach infinity. So as x approaches infinity, what's going to happen is x minus 2 is going to approach infinity. As x approaches infinity, x minus 2 is going to approach infinity. And if x minus 2 approaches infinity, you're going to say 8 divided by infinity. Same concept here. If 8 divided by infinity approaches 0, you're going to have 0 plus 2. So your answer here for this function is going to be 2, and that's why y is going to approach 2. I hope you get this. If x approaches infinity, x minus 2 is going to approach infinity. If x minus 2 approaches infinity, 8 over x plus 2, 8 over x minus 2 is going to approach 0. 8 over x minus 2 is going to approach 0. If this approaches 0, y is going to approach 0 plus 2. 0 plus 2 is 2, so y is going to approach 2. That's why we say y is going to approach 2. So our function y, it's becoming smaller and smaller, and it's becoming closer to the number 2. But it's not actually going to be 2. It's always going to be greater than 2, but it's approaching the number 2. And that's why the range for this function is y is greater than 2, because y is always going to be greater than 2. It will approach 2, but it will never reach 2. It's always going to be greater than 2. So as x approaches infinity, y approaches 2. So the range for the function is y is greater than 2. If this function was becoming bigger and bigger, as x becomes bigger, then we would have said y is less than 2, but anyway. So this is how you approach this question. And that's why the answer is f of x is greater than 2. Do not use y, use f of x. They said except y is greater than 2, but don't do that, because the question said f of x, it didn't say y. So that's how you find the range of this function. In the next video, we're going to be looking at the range of the function, the range of the function, the range of the function g of x. So until next time.